What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Crusty Christy. Crustier than ever. Yes, I said it. 9 out of 10 Christies say you're not crusty. Always remember that. 9 out of 10 9 out of 10 Christies say they're not crusty. But we're just going to keep on getting crustier, crustier, and crusty. Anyways, let's get right into this. This sounds like a doozy. Sheriff's affair with teen girl ends in pregnancy and grisly murder. If you think politicians are the only sleazy, high up people, police officers, detectives, sheriffs, sergeants, whatever, people in the army, armed forces, this one's a sheriff. Let's get to it. Sleazy sheriff.
And case files, where today we examine a shocking case of betrayal, power, and tragedy. A sheriff's affair with a teenager leads to pregnancy, and what follows is a grisly murder that ultimately ends in another murder. Join us as we uncover the disturbing details of this twisted case and explore how an illicit relationship spiraled into deadly violence. Sheriff Malcolm Cotton Gaines was a well-known figure in Monroe, Louisiana. At 46 years old, he had been serving in law enforcement for over 2 decades. People in Monroe looked up to him for his strong leadership and charming personality. However, behind the badge, Malcolm had a darker side. He was carrying on a secret affair with 19-year-old Mandy Brooks, a local waitress at the Waffle House.
She looks like
for
she's
several months.
15.
While publicly, Malcolm presented himself as a devoted husband to his wife of 20 years, Cindy Gay Gaines. The reality was far more complicated. Cindy Gay, a respected schoolteacher, had long suspected her husband's infidelity. Though she maintained a calm and collected exterior, the whispers of Malcolm's behavior had been eating away at her. For years, she had chosen to stay in the marriage for the sake of their children and to keep up appearances in their tight-knit community.
This is heavy. It's warm, loads of pockets. I'm impressed with it. This is the basket.
Shut up.
Malcolm's
First, I hate how there's ads like a minute into the video. Second, if you think or know that your husband is cheating or your wife is cheating for years, I hate when I hear about them staying in the marriage for the children. I care about children, but they're gonna be fine, alright? They might be upset, but they'll, in the long run, be fine. I know a lot of you are going, hello? Are you a child of divorce? And yes, I am. I was 24, but don't stay in the marriage, because you're basically letting the guy have, or the wife, whatever, have their cake and eat it too. Don't divorce them. File for divorce.
controlling and sometimes abusive nature put a strain on their relationship, leaving Cindy feeling trapped and resentful. Mandy, on the other hand, was shy and vulnerable. She was easily manipulated by Malcolm,
She looks like
who
she's
promised
15,
her financial stability
19.
and a better life. She had recently graduated from high school and was dreaming of going to college, but those dreams faded as her relationship with Malcolm deepened. Though she tried to stay hopeful, she grew more anxious over time, especially as she felt Malcolm pulling her further away from her friends and family. When Mandy found out she was pregnant, everything changed. The young waitress felt trapped in a situation she had no control over. Malcolm was furious when she broke the news, and he quickly became cold and distant, though he had charmed her early on. Malcolm had no interest in fathering another child, especially one that could threaten his reputation.
You douchebag.
This love triangle created a storm of emotions for everyone involved. Mandy was scared and unsure of what her future would look like with a baby on the way, while Malcolm felt the weight of his actions and the potential public fallout.
Public fallout, yeah. I don't have any sympathy for that 19-year-old either. She knew he was married. I don't know who died a grisly murder. The wife, this pregnant 19-year-old teen. I don't care. Hopefully it's not the wife, but if it's the teenage girl, I don't care. She knew he was married, but yet still was sleeping with him, having an affair. There's so many females out there that it's like they don't even think about it. They know someone's married, but if they think they're attractive, it's like, hey, yeah, I'll go out with you. You want to go somewhere, you know? Just, they're whores. They're sluts.
For Cindy, the affair and the pregnancy was a devastating blow. She had spent years enduring Malcolm's controlling ways, but the thought of her
You
husband
should have
fathering
divorced
a child
him.
with a woman nearly the same age as their son, Tyler, was too much to bear. In the days leading up to his death, Malcolm's once powerful persona started to crack. The pressure of the situation was becoming too much, and everyone in this twisted love triangle could feel that something.
The days leading up to his death. If the wife ended up shooting him or killing him, I love it. He just looks like a douchebag. He had everything going for him. He could have ran for Congress or mayor. I don't know where you want to start. Whatever.
He had to give. On the morning of June 28, 2009, Sheriff Malcolm Cotton Gaines was found dead in his own home. It was around 8:15 a.m. when his longtime neighbor, Harold Jenkins, noticed something was wrong.
Kill himself?
Harold, a retired postal worker, had gone outside to fetch his morning paper when he saw that Malcolm's front door was slightly ajar. Harold knew this was unusual since Malcolm was always particular about security, given his position as sheriff. Concerned, Harold decided to check on his neighbor. When Harold stepped inside, he immediately noticed signs of a struggle. The living room was in disarray, with cushions thrown around and a broken vase on the floor. Harold's heart raced as he made his way to the master
Maybe the
bedroom,
wife
calling
hires
out
somebody.
Malcolm's name, but there was no response. When he reached the doorway, he froze. Malcolm's lifeless body was sprawled on the bedroom floor, lying in a pool of blood. He had been shot multiple times, and blood spatter covered the walls.
You deserved it.
The grisly scene was unlike anything Harold had ever seen. Shaking with fear, Harold quickly backed out of the house and called 911. "There's been a murder," he told the dispatcher, his voice barely steady. Within minutes, emergency responders were on their way. When the police arrived, they found Harold outside, pale and visibly shaken. He explained what he had seen, and officers...
He's a black man. How do you tell... I'm not being racist. I'm not racist at all. How do you tell if a black man is pale? Does their face get lighter? Like, not Michael Jackson white, but...
quickly entered the home. They later described the crime scene as chaotic and violent. It was clear there had been a confrontation. Malcolm had been shot in both the head and chest, as well as in the genital area, and there were signs that the attack had been sudden. His service revolver, which was used in the murder, lay on the floor near his body. The house had other evidence of the struggle, overturned furniture and shattered glass. But nothing had been stolen, leading investigators to believe this was a personal attack rather than a random robbery.
It wasn't the wife.
Detective Tillman immediately called for
A struggle?
forensics team. and the investigation into the murder of Sheriff Gaines was officially underway. The small town of Monroe was about to learn that their beloved sheriff had been hiding far more than they ever imagined. The police arrived at Malcolm Gaines' house within minutes of Harold Jenkins' 911 call on June 28, 2009. Detective Marcia Tillman, a 15-year veteran of the Monroe Police Department, led the investigation. Known for her no-nonsense approach, Tillman immediately began assessing the chaotic crime scene. The house was in disarray, with furniture overturned, glass shattered, and a pool of blood surrounding Malcolm's body in the master bedroom.
The pregnant
Malcolm had been
teen.
shot 3 times.
The pregnant
once
teen.
in the head, once in the chest,
Father.
and once in the genital area. The shots to the head and chest were consistent with a calculated murder, but the wound to the genitals stood out. Detective Tillman and her team theorized that the shooter had aimed at this area deliberately,
Yeah, of
perhaps
course.
as a sign of anger
No,
or
it wasn't.
revenge.
It
Suggesting
was the
an
pregnant
personal
teen's
motive.
dad.
It wasn't just about killing him, Tillman would later say. This was about sending a message. The fact that his service revolver had been used in the attack pointed to someone familiar with Malcolm's life and routines. Forensics teams were called in to comb the scene for more clues. They carefully photographed the blood spatter across the bedroom
It wasn't
walls
a female
and
who
gathered
did
evidence
it.
from the shattered vase and overturned furniture. There were no signs of forced entry, leading investigators to believe Malcolm had known his attacker and likely let them into the house willingly.
I asked my husband to call another man into our bed to
Oh, I hate
satisfy
these
me.
ads.
I adore my husband truly, but his whip was so slender and tiny that it could fit in the palm of my hand.
This detail combined.
You ever see those YouTube ads? Throw out your Viagra and just take this, eat this weed, or mix this with baking soda and you'll be as hard as a...
Combined with a gunshot wound to his genitals, suggested the crime had been driven by emotions, perhaps rage, jealousy, or betrayal. By late afternoon, the police had pieced together a rough timeline of events. Malcolm had likely been attacked late the night before or in the early hours of the morning. His wounds, the lack of stolen items, and the overall condition of the house confirmed that this wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was a targeted killing, and the message sent by the genital wound hinted at personal or sexual motives. Detective Tillman and her team were now focused on uncovering who had reason to want Malcolm dead. As they gathered evidence, they prepared to question those closest to him, knowing that in a town as small as Monroe, dark secrets wouldn't stay hidden for long.
It wasn't a
Cindy
female.
Gay Gaines, Malcolm's wife of 20
Because
years,
it was a struggle.
was one of the first people the police questioned in their investigation. When she sat down with Detective Marcia Tillman on the evening of June 28, 2009, Cindy's demeanor was composed, but her words told a story of years of unhappiness and betrayal. Cindy admitted that her marriage to Malcolm had been in trouble for a long time. She explained that she had suspected for years that Malcolm was unfaithful.
You burning in hell,
"I just
boy."
knew," she told the detective. There were too
Sheriff?
many signs. She detailed how she had frequently found evidence of Malcolm's infidelity in their shared SUV. It started with little things, stray hair clips or unfamiliar perfumes. Then Cindy found the thong under the passenger seat,
When?
followed by used condoms tucked away in the glove compartment.
In the glove department. Used condoms put in the glove department? What an idiot serial cheater. Oh my gosh. Where should I put this used condom? I'll just put it in the glove department. No one will ever find it. My wife won't ever look in there. Get rid of it. Throw it out the window if you need to. What you keeping these as souvenirs? Oh, look at that load. Yeah. I'm a man's man. I'm a sheriff. I'm a man. Whoa, now you're burning in hell.
Each discovery confirmed what she had feared. Malcolm was cheating on her. Her suspicions were finally confirmed in the most shocking way possible. About 4 months before Malcolm's murder, Cindy came home early from her job as a schoolteacher and caught him in the act. She opened the door to the living room and found Malcolm and Mandy Brooks, the 19-year-old waitress from Waffle House, having sex on her couch.
She looks like
I couldn't believe it.
14,
She recalled
15.
to the police. "I just stood there frozen. My husband, bleeping a girl young enough to be his daughter." The betrayal was too much for Cindy to bear. She confronted Malcolm immediately, but he was dismissive, telling her that what she saw wasn't a big deal. He said it was just sex, and that didn't mean anything. Cindy recounted, her voice trembling. But it meant everything to me.
Oh, honey, it's nothing. It's just sex. Oh, it doesn't mean anything. Jeez. I'm sorry. It's just my wife. Can you? It's just sex, you know. Oh yeah. Oh, it's nothing.
What a major douche.
As if the affair wasn't enough, Cindy soon found out that Mandy was pregnant with Malcolm's child. Cindy overheard Malcolm on the phone with Mandy, discussing the pregnancy late one night. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her husband, not only having an affair, but about to have a child with someone else. Cindy had put up with so much for so long, but this for her.
And she shouldn't have.
The revelation of the affair, followed by the news of Mandy's pregnancy, had pushed Cindy to her emotional breaking point. She felt humiliated, angry, and utterly betrayed by the man she had once loved. She told police she just wanted it to be over, her marriage and her life. Despite her painful admissions, Cindy remained calm during the interrogation.
I hope she didn't kill herself.
She denied any involvement in Malcolm's murder, insisting that although she hated what he had done, she hadn't killed him. The police, however, saw her as a key suspect, and her motive, years of betrayal and anger, was clear. Mandy Brooks, the 19-year-old waitress from the local Waffle House,
It was like a
had
brother
been swept into
or
a
her
complicated
dad.
and manipulative relationship with Sheriff Malcolm Gaines.
I
When
bet.
police questioned Mandy, she described how Malcolm had promised her a future far beyond the life she was living. Growing up in a small town, the daughter of a felon, Mandy had big dreams, but few means to achieve them.
The daughter of
She
a
had
felon.
dropped out of school and was stuck working late shifts at the Waffle House.
The daughter of a felon? Did this felon father love his daughter? Were they close? I think this felon father might have got some
Living paycheck to
revenge.
paycheck. When Malcolm entered her life, things changed. Mandy told the police he promised her the world, and that he could take care of her and give her everything she wanted. Malcolm, who was nearly 30 years her senior, convinced Mandy that he would buy her a house, support her financially, and even take her on vacations. He once told her he was planning a trip for them to Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, a dream vacation for Mandy, who had never left Louisiana before. These promises
slut.
made Mandy feel like she had a future she could look forward to.
Just a slut.
Malcolm's power and charisma made it hard for her to see the darker side of their relationship.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
I don't care.
Okay, you ready? All
Yeah.
right, $118 for car insurance.
How much were you
That's
paying?
how much I was paying.
How much-
Okay, I picked up the car a few months ago, and watch this. Ready? $97 premium. $20 were my fees. $118. Now I covered up my private information, guys. $39. $118.
However, things took a turn when Mandy discovered she was pregnant. In late April 2009, after weeks of feeling nauseous and fatigued, she took a pregnancy test. The result was positive. Mandy was stunned. She had never planned to get pregnant, especially not with Malcolm's child. "I didn't know what the bleep to do," she told the police. "I felt trapped." The pregnancy made Mandy feel conflicted. On one hand, she thought Malcolm would keep his promise of financial security and provide for both her and the baby. On the other hand, she knew deep down that Malcolm had been lying to her. His promises of a life together felt hollow, and she feared he would abandon her now that she was pregnant. The pressure mounted, and Mandy began feeling isolated, not knowing who to turn to. Her situation became even more complicated when Cindy Gaines, Malcolm's wife, confronted her. Mandy described the terrifying moment when Cindy showed up at her apartment one afternoon, holding a steak knife, shortly after learning about the pregnancy. "She knew everything and said she was going to roast my baby on an open fire," Mandy recalled. Cindy accused Mandy of ruining her marriage and demanded to know if the pregnancy was real. Mandy admitted it, trembling with fear. "I was scared," Mandy told investigators.
Scare that
Cindy
bitch.
was furious, and I didn't know what the bleep she was going to do. Mandy felt overwhelmed by guilt and shame, caught in a love triangle that was spiraling out of control. She told police that while she wanted to escape the situation, she never intended for things to get violent. Her vulnerability and fear made her a suspect, but she insisted she didn't have the strength or anger to murder Malcolm. Still, her pregnancy and affair made her deeply involved in the case, and police saw her as a key figure in unraveling the truth. The twist in the investigation came when police dug deeper into Malcolm Gaines' affair with Mandy Brooks. During another intense interrogation, Mandy broke down and revealed the disturbing details of how Malcolm had been manipulating her for months. The officers were shocked as she described the emotional stranglehold Malcolm had on her life. It wasn't just the promise of a house or a trip to Dollywood that kept her in his grasp. Malcolm had gone much further. Mandy explained that her mother, a felon with a history of drug offenses, was currently serving time in prison.
Poor
Malcolm,
Mandy.
using his power as sheriff, had threatened that if Mandy ever left him or revealed the pregnancy, he would use his influence to have guards torture her mother.
Oh
behind
no,
bars.
no.
The fear and pressure this created made Mandy feel completely trapped.
Poor Mandy.
As the police listened, the gravity of Malcolm's manipulation became clear. This wasn't just an affair that had spiraled out of control. It was an abuse of power that left Mandy feeling terrified and cornered. Detectives felt anger and disgust at Malcolm's exploitation. One officer later described Malcolm's actions as a shocking abuse of trust and authority by a vile slug. But there was more to the story. Mandy also revealed that she had dated Malcolm's son, Tyler Gaines, before becoming involved with the sheriff. Tyler and Mandy had ended their relationship just months before she and Malcolm started their affair, though Tyler had no idea that his father had stepped in as her new lover. The discovery of this prior relationship added another layer of complexity to the case. Tyler, who had been estranged from his father for years, had already confronted Malcolm after finding out about the affair, though he was unaware of the pregnancy at the time. This twist in the investigation opened up new motives and dynamics between the key players. Detectives began to wonder if Tyler had a role in the murder, or if
Tyler,
Mandy's
he's a
actions
big
were driven
guy.
by fear of Malcolm's threats. The manipulation Malcolm exerted over Mandy and the tangled relationships within the Gaines family left investigators piecing together a puzzle that had become much
Did
darker than they
his
originally
son
expected.
kill him?
Tyler Gaines, 21, was no stranger to trouble. Described by locals as a wild card, Tyler had a reputation for being promiscuous and quick-tempered. His relationship with Mandy Brooks had been turbulent from the start. Mandy eventually broke up with Tyler due to his unfaithfulness. He was known to cheat on her with several women, and even a couple of men. Friends of Mandy reported that she had been deeply hurt by Tyler's behavior, and the final straw came when she discovered that Tyler had been seeing other women behind her back. What made the situation
Like
even
father,
more
like
alarming was
son.
Tyler's violent reputation. Despite his quiet demeanor around strangers, Tyler had a dark side that surfaced in his relationships. During police interrogation, Mandy revealed a shocking detail. Tyler had physically abused her on multiple occasions. In a tearful confession, she admitted that she had been pregnant with Tyler's child before their breakup. But Tyler had beaten her into miscarrying several times. The police were stunned by these revelations, adding another layer of tragedy to Mandy's story. When Tyler
She was knocked up by the son and then the father. This 19-year-old girl who looks like she's 15, long curly hair. Tyler, he looks like he's muscular. They're showing his face and neck. He barely has a chin. His neck looks like a muscular football player, offensive lineman.
learned that Mandy was now pregnant with his father's child, his rage only grew. According to those close to him, Tyler felt humiliated and betrayed, not just by Mandy, but by his own father. Discovering that his father, Malcolm, had not only stolen his girlfriend, but also gotten her pregnant was too much for him to handle. Friends described Tyler as feeling completely shattered and out of control after the news broke. One friend recalled Tyler storming out of a local bar after hearing a rumor about Mandy's pregnancy, visibly upset and muttering about taking care of it. During his interrogation, Tyler's anger and frustration were palpable. Police described his demeanor as volatile, noting that Tyler's...
I think it was Tyler now who did it, but still 8 minutes left. You're angry. You beat Mandy. into having a miscarriage. You got upset that she got pregnant and you beat her in the stomach to the point where she had a miscarriage. And you're saying, my girl, you're upset that your dad got your ex-girlfriend pregnant and was sleeping with her. As wrong as it is for that sheriff who was married to your mom to be having an affair with a 19-year-old who looks like she's 15 and getting her pregnant, as wrong as that is, she wasn't your girl anymore. And you belong in prison because you beat her. You killed your baby by beating her in the stomach, punching her. Oh my God. Just at the beginning I said this is going to be a doozy. And this is more than I
struggled to contain his emotions throughout the questioning. When confronted with the accusations, Tyler denied any involvement in his father's murder, but his hostility toward both Malcolm and Mandy was clear. Police later stated that Tyler's rage was hard to ignore, though there was no concrete evidence linking him directly to the crime. Tyler's motive for murder was certainly strong. His father had betrayed him in the worst possible way, and Mandy's pregnancy was a constant reminder of the pain he had suffered. But despite his violent reputation and past abuse of Mandy, Tyler maintained that he had nothing to do with the crime. On the night of June 23, 2009, Cindy Gaines finally snapped. After years of suspicion, betrayal, and humiliation, she could no longer tolerate the lies and manipulation from her husband, Malcolm, the discovery of his affair with Mandy Brooks, and the fact that Mandy was pregnant with his child was the breaking point. For months, Cindy had been quietly seething, her anger building to a boiling point. She felt trapped in her marriage, disgusted by the man she once loved, and consumed by the weight of her
She walked in the living room.
That night, Cindy confronted Malcolm in their living room. The argument started like so many others, but this time Cindy had a plan. As Malcolm tried to brush her off, dismissing her concerns as paranoia, she grabbed the gun that Malcolm kept hidden in the closet. With trembling hands and her heart racing, she pointed the weapon at her husband. In a cold, quiet rage, she fired a single shot, hitting Malcolm in the groin. The police later theorized that the location of the wound was not a coincidence. It symbolized Malcolm's betrayal of their marriage. Malcolm fell to the ground, bleeding profusely, and Cindy watched as the man she had spent years with lay dying at her feet. In that moment, a flood of emotions washed over her: relief, guilt, anger, and fear. She felt justified in her actions, believing Malcolm had deserved it for everything he had put her through. But at the same time, a deep sense of dread crept in. What had she done? Cindy attempted to stage the scene, dragging Malcolm's body toward the garage in a desperate effort to make it look like a robbery gone wrong. But it didn't take long for the police to see through the ruse. When detectives arrived, they quickly noticed inconsistencies in Cindy's story, and forensic evidence pointed to her as the primary suspect. The gun used in the murder was registered to Malcolm, and there were no signs of forced entry. Under interrogation, Cindy broke down, confessing to the crime. The weight of what she had done finally hit her. As officers placed her in handcuffs, Cindy felt a strange mixture of resignation and regret. She had hoped that ending Malcolm's life would bring her peace, but instead, it brought her nothing but sorrow and the cold reality of a life behind bars. In January 2011, Cindy Gaines faced trial for the murder of her husband, Sheriff Malcolm Gaines. The courtroom was filled with family, friends, and curious members of the Monroe, Louisiana community.
I'm glad.
Cindy's defense attorney, Lisa Karloff-Beans, argued that Cindy had been driven to kill Malcolm due to years of emotional abuse and betrayal. They employed the cheated on wife defense, claiming that Cindy was a victim of her husband's infidelity, which ultimately led to a breaking point. Karloff-Beans presented evidence of Malcolm's long affair with 19-year-old Mandy Brooks.
So many Americans are putting themselves into sugar-burning, fat-storing mode.
Testimonies highlighted how Cindy had found disturbing evidence of Malcolm's cheating, such as used condoms and women's underwear in their family SUV. Carla Beans painted a vivid picture of Cindy as a woman who had been pushed to her limits. And that
Idiot.
Malcolm's callous
Serial
behavior
cheater.
was the catalyst for the tragic confrontation that led to his death. Prosecutor Richard Doogie McDougall countered with a different narrative. He argued that Cindy acted with premeditation, having confronted Malcolm multiple times about his infidelities. The prosecution aimed to show that she was fully aware of her actions when she shot him. They described the crime scene, emphasizing the brutality of the murder and the emotional
Please
toll it
give
had
her a
taken on
light
the community.
sentence.
As the trial progressed, Cindy's family attended every session, hoping for a positive outcome. Cindy appeared calm, but inside, she felt a whirlwind of emotions. She was anxious about the possibility of spending years in prison. The community's reaction to her case was mixed. Some sympathized with her plight, while others saw her as a murderer. After days of testimony, the jury deliberated. On January 21, 2011, they returned with a verdict. Cindy was found guilty of second-degree murder. The news hit her like a punch to the gut. The emotional toll of the trial and the verdict weighed heavily on her. Cindy had hoped for a lighter sentence, believing that her difficult circumstances would be considered. Instead, she faced a lengthy prison term. The judge sentenced her to 25 years in prison, which left Cindy feeling devastated. Tears streamed down her face as she realized she would be separated from her children for years. The verdict sent shockwaves through the Gaines family, who had long been respected in the community. Friends and family felt a mix of relief and heartbreak, unsure of how to reconcile the woman they knew with the crime she had committed. Cindy's trial and subsequent sentencing highlighted the tragic consequences of infidelity and emotional abuse, leaving a lasting impact on everyone involved. After Cindy Gaines was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the murder of her husband, Sheriff Malcolm Gaines, the lives of those involved took dramatic turns. Cindy was sent to the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women in St. Gabriel, where she faced a stark reality. Many of her days were spent in solitude, reflecting on the decisions that had led her to commit such a tragic act. The guilt weighed heavily on her heart, knowing that her actions had shattered her family and brought pain to the
I
community
feel
of
sympathy
Longview.
for her.
Cindy's children were left to navigate their lives without their mother's guidance, while Cindy struggled to find a sense of purpose behind bars. Meanwhile, the aftermath of the murder trial brought unexpected changes in the lives of Mandy Brooks and Tyler Gaines, Malcolm's son. After the trial, Tyler reached out to Mandy. They had a complicated history, having dated before she began her affair with his father. Tyler had always been known for his promiscuous nature, but his feelings for Mandy had remained strong, even after everything that had happened. The two shared a bond over their troubled pasts, and both were trying to move forward from the chaos that had consumed
Don't
their
tell
lives.
me.
In early 2011, just a few months after the trial, Tyler and Mandy rekindled their relationship. They began to see each other more often, meeting at local coffee shops and parks in Monroe. Slowly but surely, they found comfort in one another. Tyler, who had a reputation for being violent in the past, showed signs of change as he focused on becoming a better person. He started attending therapy sessions, working on his anger issues, and trying to be a supportive partner to Mandy. By the summer of 2012, Tyler and Mandy decided to take their relationship to the next level. They announced their engagement during a small family gathering, much to the surprise of those around them. The couple married later that year in a modest ceremony at a local park, surrounded by close friends and family. For them, it was a chance to build a new life together, free from the shadows of their past. As for Cindy, her time in prison was marked by her struggle for redemption. She participated in therapy programs and worked hard to reconnect with her children during visits. Although her actions had led to devastating consequences, she hoped that one day she could regain their trust and be part of their lives again. The fates of Cindy, Mandy, and Tyler illustrated the complex nature of love, betrayal, and the consequences of choices made in moments of despair. Each was trying to navigate their lives in the wake of a tragedy that had changed them forever. A sheriff, a scandal, and a murder. The story of Malcolm Gaines serves as a stark reminder that power, when misused, can lead to devastating consequences. This is true crime.
Do you know that if this Tyler, a son of that serial stupid cheater, had gone to therapy while he was dating Mandy, before his father got his hooks into her. If he got help and him and Mandy ended up where they are now, none of this would have happened. That sheriff would still be cheating, being a stupid. He deserved to die just for being stupid as F. Yeah, I'm just gonna put her panties in here, put my used condom in the glove department. No, I'll just put her raw under the steering wheel. I'll tie it, and she won't see it. None of this will have happened. He would still be alive, cheating on his wife, if this Tyler, the son, had decided to get help, go to therapy, and him and Mandy would have stayed together and gotten married. The stupid sheriff would still be alive. Mom never would have shot her husband and be in prison. So glad that sheriff, that deadbeat husband, dad, he's burning in hell. Hell is real. I feel bad for them. Oh my gosh. I'm a big true crime fan, and there's so many times where there's sentences of like 10 years for people who deserved 25 years. And there's sentences that are given out to people, like in this case, who deserved 10 years. Everything she went through was put through 25 years. They didn't say anything about the baby. That I bet you she got an abortion. Yeah, that's my brother stepson. Yeah, my brother's stepson. Anyways, at the beginning of this video, I said this is gonna be a doozy. I never thought it would be that just crazy, just that big of a doozy. Anyways, video is at 38 minutes. What a case. What a case. Sad case. But happy too. Because that deadbeat is a burning in hell. Please like, share, and comment. And like always and forever here at the Krusty Christie, take care, be safe, peace.